We need to talk about Mr. Nice Guy, Giannis Antetokounmpo, who, after yesterday's press conference, seems like a very emotionally healthy individual. Last night, the Bucks became the first one seed to get knocked out of the playoffs by a play-in team. It wasn't Giannis's fault. He was hurt, but he still gave his all, as he always does, to the tune of 38 points and 20 rebounds. But what about the missed free throws, George? The dude was hurt and still gave you 38 and 20, maybe coach better. And the other team's missing players. And blaming Giannis isn't fair and takes the place of all the credit that should be going to Jimmy Butler for dragging the Miami Heat to the second round without Tyler Hero and Victor Oladipo. Sometimes a player elevates and just gives you a David versus Goliath performance like Baron Davis did to Dirk Nowitzki. And for my old heads, Dikembe Mutombo did it to Sean Kemp and Gary Payton in Seattle. It happens, man. But what happens next is on Giannis. Let me explain. Last night, a reporter named Eric Nim from The Athletic asked Giannis if losing in the first round made this season a failure. Giannis got upset with the question and explained that a career is a process and that you can build on a season and learn from it even if that season is over. Kobe Bryant has actually echoed that same sentiment about failure. Giannis asked Nim if him failing to get a promotion in a calendar year would be considered a failure, and if asked if the 9 years that Michael Jordan didn't win a championship in his career would be considered failures. And I've literally seen thousands of people praising Giannis for this perspective. And I'm not going to say that Giannis is wrong. It's an interesting perspective worthy of consideration. But I got to make a few points. First, in sports, you compete for championships in a self-contained season. And in paper-pushing jobs, you really compete to not get fired. So much as more than a promotion sometimes. I appreciate the metaphor, but there's not really anywhere for Eric Nim to go besides maybe becoming a national columnist. And that could happen 5 years from now, 1 year from now, 20 years from now. And getting Giannis to react in a viral manner is like a reporter winning a title. You might as well have dropped confetti on press row the moment that Giannis got emotional. Second, since Giannis brought up Michael Jordan's name into this, there's a very good chance that Michael Jordan considers all 9 of the seasons that he didn't win a championship a failure. And while I don't expect Giannis to start doing things like punching Pat Connaughton in the face at practice or calling general manager John Horst a fatso, it wouldn't hurt Giannis' chances to do the one thing that every kid with sneakers and a ball wanted to do in the 90s. Be like Mike. Michael Jordan put an insane amount of pressure on himself to be the best and used that to justify putting pressure on everybody else around him. Now, Giannis is a bully on the court. He's both new school and old school. He's got shades of Hakeem and David Robinson, but then guard play as well. And he's also uniquely suited to the modern style of play. And if anybody in basketball has earned the right to flex their own vision for what the Milwaukee should be, it's Giannis. And maybe he has a multi-season vision that isn't contained by any arbitrary starting and stopping points, but this front office sure doesn't. That's why they shipped 5 draft picks to Brooklyn for a malcontented Jay Crowder to function as their missing piece, only to have Mike Budenholzer switch up the rotations for the playoffs and stop playing Jay Crowder altogether while Jimmy Butler shot 60% from the field in the series. Maybe it's okay for Giannis to still be learning lessons and from losses at age 28, but Mike Budenholzer is beyond his losses or lessons phase. When there's half a second left in a tie game and you're facing elimination and you elect not to use one of your 2 timeouts, what the hell are you doing, dude? Mike Budenholzer isn't just failing, he's tanking. I hate to keep saying this, but even if Giannis is right about this year not being a failure, if nothing changes going forward, what are you supposed to call the Greek Freak's wasted championship potential? Giannis needs to run over Budenholzer like he runs over defenders. And if the Bucks can get a coach in place that does what's right in the right moments, then maybe this year isn't a failure after all. Let that sink in.